Happy Thursday, beautiful people. Happy Thursday. The first Thursday of 2021. I hope you all are enjoying your week and the fact that we've made it over despite everything that's going on in the news. I hope you all are taking care of yourselves and just making the most of what's happening. So I thank you all for tuning in to the first Triumphant Thursdays of the new year. Hi Linda, hi Stephanie, my lovely queen sisters who are about their grinds. I love you all and I thank you for tuning in thus far. So today, thank you. Thank you so much, Linda. I'm trying to own all that I am. So I just wanted to let you guys know that today's topic is make life count, or making life count in 2021. And I mean, just the fact that we made it to 2020 is a big deal. It was a hellhole. And I mean, some of the remnants are definitely coming into the new year. Hi, Sean. So because they're coming into the new year, you know, we have to be realistic to the fact that at the end of the day, we still gonna be going through some stuff, but how do we make 2021 count? And today's guest is none other than the amazing Marcus Cade Jr. and somebody I really admire and has a dear place in my heart. I love his wisdom. I love the genuine advice, and like I feel like he's been on this planet like 50 million times just with all the information that he has to share with the world. But thank you, Marcus. And I'm just grateful to know him. So I want you all to be inspired today, and I'm about to bring you on, Marcus. And thank you, Sean and Dawn. Hey, Dawn, for tuning in. So I'm about to add you now. Okay, Marcus? Dang it. Right. I got Molly playing in the background. Molly is like my motivational artist. Hey, Marcus.
What's going on? How you feeling?
Hold on, happy Thursday. I feel like my head's being cut off. Can you see me? See me
Yeah.
good? All right, look at them pearly whites. I see you.
What's up? What's going on?
I'm here. Hey, Tosh. Hey, everybody. All right, so your day's good? Your day was good?
Yeah. For sure.
Nice.
I might have some content for, because I always use my life as, transparent. So we're gonna get to it. Whenever it comes into the fabric of the convo, I'll have it.
I got you. I love it. So I might have to put my glasses on because I can never see y'all when y'all put stuff in the comments. I was trying to be cute, but I can't see y'all. So today's topic again is making life count in 2021. And again, we've been through so much. So I wanted everybody to comment below what are 5 things that they're desiring in 2021. Just comment below a few things that you're desiring. And as we get into this conversation, Marcus, what are some general insights you would just give off bat to anyone as to how to look at and perceive and go into 2021?
To take assessment of your energy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And to be able to
I'm listening.
feel okay with moving according to your energy. So, I always mention, like, you have to deal with decluttering your mindset and purging a lot of the toxic thinking, because when you can clear the slate and allow yourself to be peaceful, the things that you desire will pop up. And then from there, you want to be able to pursue those without feeling any sort of guilt, or again deprioritizing yourself and putting all of the responsibilities and obligations ahead of you. So we have to put ourselves first and not be afraid to do so in 2020. It's like just a general first step. You know what I mean?
And that's not always easy,
No.
especially with everything that we've been through last year. That's not easy. Like, I was talking to a dear friend of mine today, and we were just having, like, sister powwow. And she was like, sis, I don't pray for myself. I pray for everybody else. And I'm like, what? You have to, like, just take time for you. Like, how can you not pray for yourself? Sometimes I'll be forgetting to pray for people, much less, you understand? So I think that we have to, like, reel it back in and be realistic to just ourselves, being a little selfish at times. And I think that's important. So I'm going to go ahead and read a couple of the comments as to what things that people desire, right? What are some things you desire, Marcus, while I'm scrolling?
Just total freedom, right? So, I've manifested myself location wise, that just my physical location. So now it's time really to focus on the freedom, the free expression of what I represent and who I am. So that's through all the different mediums. You've seen a lot now, but y'all ain't really seen nothing yet. So that's really what I the position that I am manifesting and I am seeking out for this year is the opening and expansion of my purpose, so that I can heal and connect with even more people and strengthen a lot of people's lives. You know what I mean? So that's really what I'm looking for.
I love that. And Dawn said, express yourself, King. Okay. Curves. Hi, Felicia. Hi, everyone tuning in. So, hey, May. Okay, so Linda said, peace, prosperity, financial overflow, self-care, and unconditional love. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And she's the only one who did the homework assignment. So I'm going to read mine, okay? Oh, and then May said, to see myself without the baggage and to have the opportunity to love on that individual. On that individual. Okay, I see that, May. I love it. And I mean, all of that is going to come to pass. So things, I only wrote 4 things down, but financial abundance, and then I put a successful entrepreneurial freedoms, major traveling, love. Oh Lord, God. Okay, love. And then my last thing is bookings and castings, booking projects, booking acting gigs. I want my acting career to take flight this year. So those are the 5 things that I'm really desiring, and I've been putting a lot of work and planting a lot of those seeds and just making it work. And I watched a video yesterday about manifesting. It was a football player in 2012. I forget his name, but he had a video where he was sitting in his car and he was working for a moving company at the time. But he said that he always had a very king mindset. You get me? Where he was like, I know that where I'm at is not where I'm going to be. And he played the video in the beginning, and he said the only thing that's differentiating his royal fullness was timing. And I know you always talk about divine timing, and I think a lot of times we compartmentalize that into what we want, like love, where he at, you understand? But we don't take that same concept of divine timing for other things too. But I say all of that to say, fast forward, it's 2021. He is like successful living in LA. He looks completely different. He worked, like, he just is a different person, and you can see the Maseratis and all the things that he manifested into his life from 2012 to whatever. But it's going to happen. So I said all of that to say, I really want our 2021s to be that year for us. We don't have to wait another 10 years because we done went through a lot of hills and valleys. But I do want us to be proactive in getting the things that we desire, because we do deserve them. And as long as we're putting in the work, though, right, Marcus?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what you gonna say?
Definitely. No, I completely agree. And especially when it comes to the timing part, there's a trust and there's a faith that has to be, put out there. And I think a lot of times we're so task oriented, we have to put our focus somewhere. So will focus on, okay, where's this partner, where's this person at? Get on the dating app, get in this conversation, or get into this, trying to find this social situation or whatever underneath the COVID blanket, and trying to figure out like how that, like, so there's relentless focus externally. And again, if we're going to prioritize ourselves and our happiness, we have to be open to more internal focus. More giving back to oneself, more attuning to one's feelings, and having an inventory of your accomplishments, of your strengths and areas you would like to improve in and heal in and things like that. Because you can only that takes away the focus on what's not there and allows the universe to provide it, because you cannot be provided with the things that you want to manifest if you're hyper vigilant and you're agitating the universe with negative and anxious energy, because you're over focused on the fact that it's not there yet. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And you're further and further suppressing your happiness by having that over focus on external, and always keeping score. You know what I'm saying? It's like there's so many other things to do, and so many other ways to make sure that you are seeing progress. Because if you're not seeing progress in the dating category, you can always see progress in your personal category, as far as the things that you want to change and you want to grow in, the self-discovery, the self-awareness, the minimizing of triggers and things like that, and just your feeling space. You can feel yourself feel better, but you can't make somebody you're dating become somebody they're not. So let's shift the effort and make sure the effort is in the right place.
I agree with all of that. And it's funny because when you were just saying that you pretty much can't fix anyone. And that was one of the biggest lessons I learned, like over the past five, I feel like the last 5 years was what the work that I had to do. And the old Erica used to be like, he needs to change and he needs to do this and it's his fault. And like, that was just me, the atypical female. And I think about it, like one of the mantras that really helped me to get through that part of my life was, Erica, you can't control anyone. It's not your place to control anyone. It's not your place. Like, God is in control of everything. The only person you can worry about is yourself. And when I started to talk to get on myself like this, check myself, like, what are you doing? You sitting by the phone waiting for somebody to call you. What are you doing in your spare time? And I used to have to, like, all right, so the last 5 years, I checked myself. I stopped focusing on anyone else other than myself. You get me? So I had to be selfish in this space, because I'm like, how can I ask God to bring me somebody who's this and that, has to have more, all this money and all this, and then how can I ask for that if I'm not trying to become that? You get me? Like, we can be selfish. That's why I'm really big on, breaking out of the roles, especially amongst women, when it comes to how society has raised us, and this sense of entitlement. Like, it's for the birds. No one owes us anything. If you can't pay for your $100 meal, don't go on no date with no man asking him to pay for a $100 meal for you if you can't pay for it for yourself. And I mean, I just feel like women should stop being so selfish. But I say that on the grander spectrum too, that people in general is be what you want to attract, right? So I started practicing like this element of manifestation where, like, I just write large sums of money around the house. You get me? Because I heard that work. I never did it before. Because I always be like, God, can you just send money? You know what I'm saying? But he be like, how much you want? You got to, we got to be a little bit more specific and intentional with what we desire. So I want to take a couple of steps back, right? So a lot of people put in what they wanted. I saw Sean, and hello to everybody who's coming in. So we take a step back and we're like, okay. So the first thing, for instance, I saw that Sean said she wanted to insert more grace into her life, right? So hypothetically, grace. What's one of the first things that we have to do in order to add that part of a characteristic trait within us? Because I think we can ask for things, materialistic gains, but I feel like sometimes when it comes on to character changes. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
How would one change their character in the midst of 2021?
Okay, I'm gonna answer that, but something was funny, right?
You have it.
So, I'm and shout out to everybody who follows my live, right? I'm on live so much that I've seen people that I know on here, you know, that we know and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I physically almost tried to wave to them as they was coming in, and I forgot I'm on your live and I'm not on mine. So I was my thumb was about to, and I'm like, where's the button at to wave to these people coming in? I'm like, oh, that's right, I'm not even on live. So I'm tripping. I got you know.
It's okay. Hey y'all, how y'all doing?
Right. Physically.
Okay.
I'm IG live delirious right now. I'm sorry about that. But so second thing too, I just thought of something like just, you know, when we're talking about waiting for certain things, you know, just sit and let it hit. That's just a like a quote that just popped in my head when you were talking. It's just like, you know, just sit and let it hit, right? So let the situation or the manifestation, that thing that you want, just let it hit, let it surprise you. Get out of the space. If you feel like focusing on it is a trigger, or you feel negative or lack or scarcity in one area, completely disregard the area when you feel like that, and shift and challenge yourself to shift and focus on other things, and allow that thing to hit when it's time to hit, because it feels so much better when you can get surprised by that thing that you've been waiting for, as opposed to trying to force it into being and being disappointed every day of the week. That's not an existence that's conducive to activating unconditional happiness, because you're inadvertently saying that my happiness is conditional because I'm saddened and triggered every time I realize I don't have that yet. So we got to get out of that. You know what I'm saying? Now,
and that's, go ahead.
Oh, no. Go. Yeah, you rolling.
No, go ahead.
So as far as, you know, changing qualities or changing character, I think it starts with just one thing a day. I'm always very, you know, I'm big on consistency, not volume. So when you want to make a change, when you want to make a volume change, like, okay, I want to make a big amount. Well, you know, go bust your ass and do a lot of hours in one, you know, long time frame, or 12 hours or something, like if you have a job or whatever. That more so works for that. But for me, if I'm trying to make a life change, right, a permanent life change, and change my you know, neurology, so to speak, and my emotional responses and my second nature, I'm big on consistency, not volume. So, you know, if you can do a small thing daily that would be representative of what grace is, maybe, you know, whatever that activity is, whatever that, you know, being this way about this type of situation, or whether it's diverting attention, or what, you know, or whether it's positive expectations or things like that. Like, however you can quantify being more graceful, do one thing every day, and note it, mark it, make yourself accountable for it, whether you got to check it off, whether you need it on a notebook, notepad, note app, whatever you do, and make sure that it's every day, you know, just like a, you know, traditionally like a vitamin or something, just one every day, until you can just leave. You know, it's like taking the training wheels off and you flying now. There's no need to write it, because it's in rotation. And then, you know, you can build on anything. Some people, you know, and I've recommended too, people do that in relation to fear more so, as far as, you know, changing your internal response and your obedience to fear when it becomes, you know, magnified, or it takes a stranglehold on you over time, because its voice is so big and it has such interconnection with your emotional presentation. So fear can get you emotionally to feel something. A lot of times we act off emotion, and then we start doing what that fear says. So we have to stop it and try to resist. We know what it feels like. We track our feelings,
Mm-hmm.
So then when that happens and that hits again, we deny it, we stop it. And then we mark that. We do it again, we do it again, we do it again. Until we were listening to intuition and faith over fear. Fear has to diminish. So that's the way I would recommend it.
And that's so honest, because like fear, when you were talking about emotions, like I'm never emotional, but I was just joking. So I think I think fear is if we think of it as an illusion, it really helps, because I would say like the last 3 years is where I just have been completely fearless, and it was a process for me, because I mean, you guys see me now, but when I tell you I used to be shy and anxious, maybe up until like the last like 10 years, it was a process for me to get over. And I think that we have to be kind to ourselves. And when you were talking about doing things incrementally, the perfectionist in me be like, no, I'm gonna be famous. I'm gonna go in this audition. I'm gonna be famous tomorrow. And we don't take the time out to like stop, smell the roses, and take it a day at a time, because there are lessons in everything that we experience, in every audition, in every job interview, and everybody that we meet, and every relationship. There's a something to learn from it, and not just learn from the other person. Learn from yourself. We got to be accountable for ourselves. You get me? So what that goes into fear, it's like if what really helped me is like, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, right? Because fear it's fake, it's a vapor. You understand? How many times have we been afraid? How many times have we been in places where, oh my God, I don't know how I'm gonna pay my rent, and some kind of miraculous way we're able to pay our rent, and all of that fear subsided. You get me? So it's the same thing. Just like everything is a stepping stone, that's a stepping stone. So what did you learn from like the last 20 something years of your life to now? You don't need to worry about anything. And if you take away the lessons from every experience, you won't worry about it. You get me? Does that make sense?
Yeah, and you know you don't fight fear, you starve it. Like a lot of times people feel like negative thought patterns come in, and you're like, I don't want to think like that. Stop thinking like, you battle with the energy, and that only magnifies it. So you definitely don't want to do that. You just want to starve it, and create other abundant zones that you can step into. You know what I'm saying? As far as just other activities and combinations of activities that you can feel at peace, individuals that you can speak to that you feel at peace, videos and music and incense and sage and diffusers and like baths and things like that, nature walks, right? You put yourself at the mercy of things that do not require an immense amount of anxiety, or don't thrive off of anxiety, but that suppress and calm you. You know what I'm saying? And then you kind of just bask in that. Because again, I always take it back to focus. You know what I'm saying? You want to be at a point where you can build your ability to focus elsewhere, even in the midst of fear-based triggers. You can look at it, like you said, illusion. You can look at it and say, yeah, that's scary, but it's kind of funny, like, traditionally on cartoons, ghosts are scary, but they go right through you. They you can't be hurt by a ghost. If we're really thinking about it, you can see through it as well. So it looks scary, things like that. But again, there's no impending major, irreversible effect of it as a reality. So we have to look at it as see-through. We have to look at it as scary on the surface. But if we focus elsewhere, there will be no major effects. You know what I mean? And we can again tune ourselves into the right frequency to bring about the outcome that we've asked for.
I love that. I love all of that. And when you were speaking, something that really triggered me and has helped me throughout the years is get out of your own way. Like, get out of your own way. And that's the self-doubt, the uncertainty, all of those negative thoughts. They're not helping you. And like Marcus was saying earlier, when it comes on to that, don't focus on what you don't wait. You said don't focus on what you do have. Focus on what you don't know. But don't focus on what you don't have. Focus on what you do have, right?
Right.
Okay, so that's fine. I be getting confused sometimes, y'all, but you get what I'm saying. Just focus on the things like appreciate the things that you have, and then just be bold in knowing what you desire, and then leave it alone. Like you don't have to fester on it. It will come. It will happen when it's supposed to happen. And that's really been helpful to me, just getting out of my own way, because, you know, we self-sabotage all the time. You know, we go to an interview and we're like, okay, I did great. But then what if they didn't like my earrings? What if they didn't like this? Like, why am I thinking so much? Like, get out your head. Go grab a Starbucks latte and congratulate yourself. One, for even getting an interview. Two, for like being able to make it on time. Like all the things that we just take for granted. Like every little thing leads up to something that we should appreciate in all things. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and you know, that reminds me of just, you know, the bracing for impact mentality, right? So, you know, we go into like audition, interview, we go into that, you know, we have elements of confidence, right? We know how well we know our abilities, we know our skill set, we know our resume, and then we go into this situation. And then we're saying, yeah, Dawn says she likes your earrings. Your earrings are matching her icon or avatar. It's some pink transaction. It's some stuff going on in here. It's all dope. I'm keyed in on symmetry. That's why. I'm sorry. So
I love it. I got you, Dawn.
It's happening. It's happening in here. But you know, because I watched for that in my own life, just symmetry and signs. So y'all got me caught up in something. But what I was saying is you know, so auditions, interviews, where we're putting ourselves at the mercy of something, right? Or at the mercy of a panel or a deciding entity or organization, right? A lot of times we go into it with a bracing for impact mentality. So, you know, people always say prepare for the worst. So you come in, that narrative has been pervasive. So we come in and we're like, somebody else probably gonna get it, or this you know, this type of agency, this type of people, or this, that, and the third. So we start to itemize and hoard reasons that it probably won't work out, and building up our emotional response in reaction to failure. So we bring up the emotional reactivity, emotional response, the connection, the mindset, the focus, the perspective, as if we already failed it, as if we already, you know, we're unable to achieve that outcome. And then what normally happens is we don't receive that outcome. And then we end up exactly where we feared we would be. And so, you know, over time, you know, I've learned and I've, you know, really taught myself to be, you good connection wise up there?
And I'm asking you that because it's doing the same thing. Wait. Can you see me in real time? You can see me in real time?
It's frozen and it's freezing in and out.
It's doing the same thing for me, for you. Wait, okay. Can you see me?
Yeah, now, yeah.
Okay.
Now it's frozen.
So, and now okay, so wait 1 second. Because it's doing something and I don't know what it is, because I can see myself and then it's spinning for you. Okay, so.
All right, I think we might be good. Okay.
You good? Okay.
So.
All right, so I want to make sure that I caught what you were saying. Can you repeat some of it?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay.
Okay. So are we in a good spot? Hold on 1 second. Yeah. Why you always saying it's my Wi-Fi? I'm buzzing. Some people saying it's good, clear either way. So
yeah.
Once I get you clear, right. I'm gonna go back.
You're not clear. You want to come back in? Or pause or give it a little time? I mean, I like the blurry Marcus. It's cool. All right, Marcus. I'm gonna bring you right back in, okay, love? I'm gonna bring you right back in, okay? We're gonna take a little intermission. All right. It's all love. It's all love. Just a little refresh. Look, see, we having such a dope conversation. You see how? Not today, universe. We're going to get it together. Listen, my Wi-Fi be glitchy sometimes too, so it's all love. Yeah, it's all love. So I hope you all are enjoying the conversation so far. Marcus is a plethora of wisdom, and it does flow through and through. And I mean, literally, we're going into we are in 2021, and it has this whole notion of like, all the stuff that's been happening. We don't want to have to continue with the major like backlash of 2020. Like, I just really want it to be over. Like, everybody get the vaccination. I'm not gonna get it, but people who want to go get it, y'all go get it, and then we'll be all right. So we can get back to normal. Hey,
what's up?
How you feeling?
I'm good. You ready?
All right, I'm ready. Forgot what that last question was, but I'm gonna let you have the floor, Marcus.
All right, so like I was saying, when it comes down to interviews or auditions or things like that, we brace ourselves for impact, right? So we start to, even before we complete the objective, before we interview or audition, like sometimes we'll have in the back of our minds the inventory of times that we didn't get the job, we didn't get the gig or whatever it is, and the times that we failed, were overlooked, were passed up, right? And this seems to be a box that gets opened up whenever we're triggered to potential failure or vulnerability. That box opens up, all of those bats come out, and they do this, you know what I'm saying? And then they flood your mind with failure mentality, bracing for impact. It's this likely that it's not going to work out. I might as well do this change or make a change or whatever the case is, right? So we, by way of frequency, by way of emotional response, get ourselves to a point as if we already have been turned down and passed up. So this is like a pattern that we have to disrupt, and so, because it's we have rooted in our belief system that we must brace for impact, right? And this doesn't say that we don't have confidence in ourselves. We have a lack of confidence in positive outcomes. So we can feel as confident in our own abilities as possible. We can feel like we're the best suited for every job and still expect to not get hired ever. Those can coexist. So a lot of times it don't have nothing to do with a self-esteem thing, you know what I'm saying? And it has to do with an expectation of things not working out for whatever reason, whether that's a scarcity mindset, whether that's feeling cursed, whether that's feeling like there is a pattern of, in our life of a certain, set of failures that have to happen, and that we're just one of the unlucky ones, whatever that mentality is. So the way to counteract that is to do things to focus opposite that, right? So okay, one way is to not focus on the outcome. The other is to focus on either outcome being positive. You know what I'm saying? So you neutralize the effects of an impact if you're always and only looking for the advantages to every move that you make. So that frees you up to not be super perfectionist, right? Trying to, I have to do it this, and mind you should strive for excellence, but when the stakes are too high, you're going to fail anyway, because anxiety will make you mess up on things that you are great at. It happens every time. You could study for 4 months and go in that test and F it up because you're scared of failing, whether you know the information or not. This is the same mechanism. So if you're cloudy here with anxiety and anxious chemicals, you're not going to be able to focus properly. So it doesn't matter. I've gone in slightly unprepared for tests and somehow killed it based on the energy I had versus the preparation. So it's there's a different kind of relationship there. But if we can neutralize the outcome to where, either way it goes, it's adding to your goal, right? So if your goal is to become this is not going to make or break that. There's a wealth and abundance of opportunities that will lead you there. It's up to you to focus on how they help. No matter the outcome, no matter the physical outcome, how each step, each restructuring, each failure, each upgrade, each person you meet, each piece of information, each emotional reaction, each traffic jam, each sunrise, everything is pointing you into that direction if you believe it's going to happen. Now, if you engage in thinking that's going to push you out of that alignment to where, you read your emotional regulation. If you keep doing things or mindsets that will keep you suppressed, you can guarantee that you're pushing the outcome further and further. But we have to stop taking each thing at face value, right? So a job interview, up or down, yes or no, hired or not hired, or we went another direction, it's always helpful, no matter what it is, because sometimes I've been, and I wouldn't tell you if I didn't live it. I've been in situations where the wrong outcome happened, and that put me in a certain energy space where, I love channeling energy, right? So anger and frustration, I love that because I can do a lot with that. I can create with that. I can work out with that. I can maneuver. I can write with that, right? So I had that frustration response and sat in that, and then started to channel it. And then by virtue of channeling, ideas popped up. And I went with the idea, followed the breadcrumbs and the intuitive impulses, called this person had this resource, this made sense, this awakened this idea, right? So now I'm on a totally different track. And where I ended up made this particular job that I didn't get look amazing. Because if I would have got it, I would have been only 10% of the maximum output of my my manifestation. So again, we have to detach ourselves from physical outcomes and always be in extraction. And like I talked about before, always extend the high. So find things that are, that you've manifested already, and shift your focus to things that you are living in now, that were only in your mind and on your vision board years ago, months ago. And then, keep yourself in the right space and always go into new things, realizing that whatever happens, something here will put me further in connection to the goal.
I love that. And it's real because it's seeing the glass half full, if not already full, and not focusing on anything other than the space where you need to be. So like, I'm in a complete space of, I don't want to hear no drama, no negativity, no girl, did you hear? I don't want to hear none of it, because it's not helping to grow me. It's not helping to better me in any form or fashion. So I shut stuff off quick, fast, don't care, block, whatever. You understand? Because I'm choosing to stay in this space on so many levels. And one of the biggest things that while you were speaking was touching me is that society has taught us, especially for creatives, to settle down on all spectrums. And I feel like, honestly, we're looking at each other as adults. Oh, I'm in my late 20s, my 30s, my 40s, my 50s. But all we are grown-up children. All we are grown-up children. So the imaginations that they try to encourage us as kids, but then when we get to a certain age, oh, you can't do this anymore. Well, why not? It's the same creative energy that apparently God gave it to us for a reason, to create. He's a creator. We have the ability to create, and we should not subdue any of that to settle down. Why don't you go to college and get you a good job? Go to church, get you a good man. That same concept of settling down for what? It doesn't even make sense until we say it enough times. It's like, no, why would I want to settle down. No, I want to grow and be my best, be with my best divine counterpart, and just continue to grow in entrepreneurship and my creative elements and all of these different things. Like this week, as I've been going to bed, like I'll get an idea. So I had an idea 2 nights ago. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna write it down when I wake up. I forgot it. So last night, 2 ideas came to me, like on the brink of waking up, and I texted it to myself immediately. So I had it as a reference, so I didn't lose the sheet of paper in the midst of it all. And I just wanted to say that to anyone who has something that's birthing inside of them, or they're toiling with themselves in any form or fashion for an idea, like just make the first steps, like Marcus was saying before. Take the first steps and just do what you can and be consistent with what this idea is, because it's going to take you to where you need to grow. Because it's either that or go to that job interview that you really don't want, but you're going only because your mom hooked you up with the interview, or she knows so and so at the church and she thinks that you two are going to make a great couple. Like, you have to march to the beat of your own drum. You feel me?
Yeah.
And be unapologetic about it. So I wanted to say that.
Nah, that's an excellent point. And you know, I kind of want to go off of that. But first, I put something in the chat just to make sure everybody is catching.
Am I glitching?
Huh?
Was I glitching this time?
No. I haven't seen a comment in a long time, so I'm making sure that everybody's still in here. But
they're paying attention to class. That's why.
Right, exactly. But I think, you know, to that point of just following, you know, your childhood and you know, the things that you do in abundance, you know, and that's really where when I hit my crossroads as far as, you know, searching out my full purpose. Not that, you know, psychology was the track that I was on, but you know, searching out my full purpose. One thing I wanted to make a point of is, what was I doing when I had no restrictions, when I had, you know, when I was at recess or at play, or just allowed to, you know, as a child, right? Allowed to have that freedom. We always search for freedom as adults, but the freedom, a lot of it lies in doing the things when we had the most freedom, right? Now you look at children, okay, there's certain restrictions, but there's certain freedoms as well. You can do, you know, whatever activity for the most part that you want to, you know what I'm saying? And you know, for me, it's like everything that I'm doing now is I'm living my childhood now, if that makes sense. Like, you know what I mean? Because, you know, you see the skits, the impressions, that stuff as I was doing as a kid, you know what I mean? Like I remember times where, you know, I would imitate the radio show hosts. I had this little recorder, like a little, you know, the cassette tape where you get the blank tapes and you record on it. So I had this little recorder, little Fisher Price recording John, and I used to be the, you know, Tom Joyner, right?
Yeah.
So he used to have, we had a station in Jersey. He used to have his own radio show. That's the radio show I would listen to the most. That's why I had so much R&B in me, because that's the R&B station in Jersey. So, but he had a morning show, and he used to have these different people doing characters, comedians and stuff. So I would imitate the show, you know what I'm saying? And do my own tapes of me imitating different characters. And so this is like 6, 7, 8 years old doing this. Fast forward to now. So I'm working on, you know, film projects and things like that. I used to, you know, create plays, have my little brother in plays and stuff like that, and you know, create these lines and these fighting wrestling scenes and stuff like that to kind of perform for my mom, right?
Right.
So that's like, you know, probably 6, 7, 8 years old, in that range. And I'm doing that now. You see what I'm saying? You know, when it comes to, you know, communication, you know, written communication, you know, cards and, you know, just stuff for school, and, you know, writing and communication was always a big part of that, you know, and I always like, you know, creating art and things like that. So, you know, when people tell you to, you know, find one thing, that's the thing that I rebelled against the most. It was like, you know, find one thing and stick to it. I'm like, I'm not one thing though. And that's
Right.
really, you know, after my mom passed, I really spent a lot of time
Mm-hmm.
trying to figure out, is this one track my only track? And I find,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, there was so many other interests and things that I
Mm-hmm.
was tied to that I love to do, but didn't necessarily see a professional space for
Mm-hmm.
them to express themselves. So I had to create that. You see what I'm saying? So
Right.
sometimes we gotta, I hate to use the word fight, but we have to kind of forcibly open up spaces for us to utilize our childlike imagination and energy into the space. Because if we look at any sports players, there's a direct correlation. You talk about
Mm-hmm.
soccer, basketball, football. Where do you? That's what kids do. Like,
Right.
kids play football outside. Kids play that. Not maybe not now, but a lot of them still do. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So like, if you think of playing ball, it's a kid sport. But look
Mm-hmm.
at how many millions and star quality and doors that open when there's a direct lane when you never stop doing it. But a lot of
Mm-hmm.
times in things that we might do, that don't have that direct track to success, professionally, we
Mm-hmm.
may struggle a bit. We may have those points where we get diverted into one thing or diverted over here.
Right.
But once we get a lock on it and figure it out, the sky's the limit. So that's really what I, you know, definitely want to be an advocate for.
I receive all of that. And I'm looking at all of the comments, and I appreciate everyone for tuning in. So while you were speaking, I just wanted to share that don't let anybody tell you what you can't do. Um, I've learned, and I wish I would have understood this earlier on, that when we have visions and ideas and things that we want to explore, don't allow anyone to tell you what you can't do. It's imperative to follow the beat of your own drum. Hold on, it's important to follow the beat of your own drum, and at the same time, when it comes on to children, if you happen to have children, don't diminish your children's um, imagination and exploration, because they have gifts and skill sets that need to be explored. Don't put labels on them. Don't hinder them from being their best selves. And I don't have children yet, but that's one of the things that I know that I'm going to live by when I do, to make sure that I'm encouraging that avenue of their imagination so that they feel that it can be cultivated in the right way. I don't know what's going on. But you know what it is? We so full of energy. We so full of positive vibes that Instagram can't hold us. You feel me? Instagram can't hold all our vibes. But I just wanted to express all of that to you because I think it's so important to just remember that. And the only reason people are telling you that you can't do something is because they can't do something or they can't see your vision. And again, like I was saying before, one of the biggest things that I had to do, I just had to shut up. Like, shut up, Erica. People are not going to understand what God has put in you or your purpose or what your destiny is. So as long as you just like focus on it, work towards it, and then let the fruition of your blessings speak for themselves. So I hope that helps somebody, because at the end of the day, when it comes on to certain things like the fullness of your destiny, that's sacred. So the things that you're working on, the projects that you book, the connections that you have, that's sacred. You're not going to give Idris Elba's contact information to somebody if you're working with Idris. Like, who does that? You get what I'm saying? Or when it comes on to your soulmate, people don't need to know the beginning stages and even like anything that you guys do, because it's nobody's business. When it comes to a certain space in your life, things just need to be quiet. And I always remember, y'all know I love the Bible, but like, don't let your left hand know what your right hand is doing, or however that goes. But pretty much it's saying keep your business to yourself. After a certain space and age and time in life, when you are on your mission and purpose, keep it sacred, because you don't want to give the enemy any leeway into the fullness and promise of your life. You know, don't give him any kind of segue. And I say that to say so that in this year, in this 2021, just go boldly and do what you have to do and work in silence. Just work in silence, move in silence, love in silence, travel in silence, and let people keep people guessing because they're not paying your bills and they're not making love to you. Okay, so I'm just keeping it a buck. Sorry, I got passionate. Sorry, I'm getting passionate sometimes. Go ahead, Marcus.
No, I agree. I agree. You know, just keeping the momentum. You know, the belief, but also, you know, when it comes to purpose, I always say, like, I look at purpose as having an intimate connection with your self identity, and that's what makes it so powerful. Is because, you know, I always recommend, while you're in this single space, that's a privilege for you to be able to adequately serve and identify and pursue your purpose. Why? Because it's, you know, it's not only just some glamorous thing that everybody's talking and stuff like that. This has to do with creating a solid fulfillment from your own destiny. You know what I'm saying? And being deeply rooted in why you were here in the first place. You can't tell me that your outlook, your belief system, your characteristics, your visual look, the things that you're drawn to are just by accident and happenstance, and they have no bearing on the planet or any sort of impact whatsoever. Otherwise, if it had no bearing, we'd all be born with the same shit. We all would be the same. We would all have the same, you know, abilities, just like iRobot, the same look, the same energy, the same, you know, abilities and things like that, and nobody would care about it. But the fact that we're born different, we're born individual, we're born in a space where we have specific events to the point where you can literally have a twin brother or sister and still have two totally different individuals, even if they lived in the same environment with the same DNA. This tells me that, you know, you are unique beyond measure. There is no double up. There is no doppelganger. There is no second version of exactly who you are, what you've been through, and what you are comprised of. So it's worth your while to really dig into that and create a life out of that. And I'm not saying that you have to leave your job and become fully into. You don't have to do that, but at least give it its credence, give it its attention, to at least make it, whether it's a side thing, a hobby, or just an element of fulfillment that you're not willing to give up for any partner. Because the problem is, we're so willing to give up the baby in the bathwater to get the right person. And what happens is, we, again, deprioritizing ourselves, we neglect ourselves and our identity in exchange for someone else to give us identity. And then when we enmesh ourselves in that codependency, then a breakup happens, which naturally happens when you choose toxic. The fallout is you're less and less of yourself. You know less and less about yourself. You're picking up shattered pieces of who you are. You don't know who you are. You only know who you are in relation to relationships. You only know who you are in connection to this person, that person, their needs, their wants, their desires. We had a conversation on my live yesterday. You know, Dolores was talking about an individual that she dated who had an overdue influence on her in a certain way years after the relationship ended. It's not a game. We don't want to become somebody else's idiosyncrasies. We don't want to become somebody else's desires, somebody else's abusive tendencies. So we don't want to inherit somebody else's toxicity. We do not have to assimilate and become someone else. We have the autonomy, especially as single people. We have the freedom and the autonomy to do, to figure out why we are what we are, and why every element, everything that we've been through, is perfect for something. I have, and literally, I'm speaking from example. I've literally, my whole life and everything that I'm doing now, you know, everything I'm doing now, I have literally salvaged every element of my entire life. So nothing I'm doing now has no ties to any, like, I'm not doing anything now as far as my purpose and passion that has no interconnection to me as an individual person. That's why it glows the way it does, because
Right.
I can't do you. You can't do what I'm doing. Nobody can do what you are doing because of what I said earlier. You are completely unique. Certain situations that you've been through have caused certain elevations or certain focuses and sensitivities that make you perfect, in addition to all of your positive character traits, to make a difference in this area, or to communicate this way, or to, you know, be an artist in this lane. And that space is yours. So do the investigation. I mean, it's the most important discovery and investigation of your entire life, because it makes your entire life worth it. You know, beyond the partner, we're talking about life fulfillment, and this thing is a major key and a major anchor as far as just building that structure internally and finding that happiness. It will be a critical piece to, when I talk about those spaces to go to, when fear tries that illusion, the safe spaces to go to, when you're triggered, the spaces to go to for those outlets. Without that passion work and that purpose work, you know, there's other ways to do it, but that's a major that's a super critical. I can't say it enough. And on top of that, once you're able to embrace that and your uniqueness, right? When you do meet that partner, you will relentlessly protect that. You won't connect with anyone who infringes on that purpose, because that purpose is you. You have an extension, a physical extension of your self-identity to present to the world in an outlet of art or music or the written word or podcasting, whatever expression, whatever it is. And so somebody comes along, hey, I don't like that. You're doing too much of that. All right, you're doing too much existing in front of me. You got to go too. You got to get out of here, right? It's not a match. You see what I'm saying? So let's close that gap of identity and cover all bases by finding fulfillment in our purpose individually. So I hope that makes sense.
Felt it all. It made a lot of sense. We have about maybe 2 minutes left. If anyone has any questions, feel free to ask them. I really felt all of that, Marcus, and it's true. And I would just reiterate by saying, just put yourself first in 2021. We've gone through a lot, losses, a whole lot of things, health. So it's time to get our minds right. It's time to get recentered and redefine who we are, figure out who we are, and figure out what we want going into this new year, because we don't want to be 50 still trying to figure out the same lessons in our 30s. This is the ample time before we start to get back into the real world without major distractions to continue on learning who we are before love comes, before the manifestation of the fullness of your destiny comes. Just keep working on yourself and fall in love with yourself. You are amazing. Like Marcus said, you are amazing. So why not appreciate yourself? Like, everything about you is dope. So I wanted to ask you, Marcus, what is your go-to quote tonight?
Man, let's see. Check the chase the purpose, not the person. I'm gonna go with that one.
Okay.
Chase the purpose, not the person. It goes intimately with what I was just talking about. It's one that I came up with a few lives ago, and I feel like, it works. It works. Whenever you feel yourself moving into that space where you're chasing the person, you can now switch your focus and chase the purpose, because that's number one. That's something it's not going to run away. It's not going to run away, because it's you. It's who you are. It's who you're comprised of. It's all the ingredients. And again, make sure you are salvaging everything. Don't skip the pain parts, because again, pain is information. You want to extract from that too, because it changed you. And I'm not going to sit here and say it changed you in all negative ways, because in order for us to supersede that pain, we had to utilize positive qualities, and we developed certain sensitivities. It's always great to see people who have been through certain things, then grew up, and then put themselves in a space to serve their younger self, to be who they needed as their younger self,
Right.
and heal those who represent symbolically the younger version of themselves. So pay attention to everything. Chase the purpose, not the person.
Quotes for days, Marcus. I love it. So literally, this was an amazing conversation. I love all your insight. I always call you the guru, God's wisdom, the whole nine. And I'm grateful to you for just being a vessel and using your individual gifts and talents and blessings. Hold up. Hey, Tiffany, Instagram giving us more time. Like, okay, I was getting ready to wind it down, but I will say Marcus is going on right after this on his live. So be sure to tune in to Happiness Decoded 101 every Friday night. Every Friday night. Every night at 9 o'clock.
Hey, don't shortchange. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Don't do that.
Every night at 9 o'clock, Marcus is on giving amazing information. And when I was going through my hurts and all the things that I was going through in the loss, his platform definitely helped to distract me from that and has given me so much motivation and insight and healing. So I don't even know what to do with this time right now. I'm like, shoot, we might as well make it, but whatever. Marcus is going, when you tune in, Marcus is going to be on his live in about 5 minutes. But thank you so much. Thank you for everyone tuning in. And I hope you all got some gems in order to get through this year as positively as possible. And I love you all. And I love you, Marcus. And I love you all for tuning in. And I will see you next Thursday on Triumphant Thursdays. Bye until next time.
Real quick.
Say, Marcus?
I much appreciated. And real quick, just anybody watching, check my page as well for the Evolve workshop. That's the first one is going to happen this Saturday. So just check the caption. You'll see the post on my page. Check the caption for all the details on how to register. And it's a 2-hour workshop. Just a complete. We're going to hit psychology. We're going to hit life purpose, we're going to hit partnerships, and we're going to hit physical health. So, we're going to cover all the major elements to make sure that from here forward, we have all the tools that we need to grow. And it's going to be something I do on Saturday. So check that out. And again, much appreciated to the platform. Always salute you for everything that you're doing and staying invested in. And your energy is always amazing. So appreciate you bringing me on.
Thank you. I don't know where God just put the sun in me, because I feel like I got ADHD sometimes. There's a lot of energy, but I appreciate that. It means the world to me. So
that's the gift too. Keep that.
All right. It ain't going nowhere. Trust me. All right. So y'all tune into Marcus's page now. All right. Night, everybody.
Good night.
Night.